Ladies and gentlemen, for Ghana, cocoa is not just an export commodity. Cocoa is a strategic national asset. For generations, cocoa has supported livelihoods, financed development, and contributed significantly to Ghana's economic transformation. Indeed, Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire together account for approximately 60% of global cocoa production, underscoring the strategic importance of West Africa within the global cocoa economy. Yet, the sector today faces critical challenges that threaten its long-term sustainability. Responding to these challenges require bold reforms and deliberate adaptation. This is why Ghana has embarked on what we call the cocoa reset. Ghana's cocoa sector is undergoing one of the most significant transformation efforts in recent decades. The cocoa reset goes beyond reforming an institution. It is about repositioning an entire sector for long-term survival, resilience, and competitiveness, and restoring prosperity and dignity for cocoa farmers. Under this reset agenda, government is pursuing bold reforms aimed at restoring financial discipline, while the World Cocoa Foundation remains such an important platform for collective action, shared accountability, and practical solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are especially pleased that the 2027 partnership meeting will take place here in Ghana. This is closer to the farms, it is closer to communities and people at the heart of this global conversation. Because resilience must begin where cocoa is grown. It is where particularly fitting that this meeting will coincide with Cocoa Board's 80th anniversary. 8 decades of service, institution building, and contribution to Ghana's economy and the global cocoa industry.
Even when the prices plummeted and we unfortunately had to decrease the prices to cushion the impact of the farmer, the government decided that it was going to give the farmer 90% of what that FOB was, which meant that there was going to be a lot of losses incurred by Cocoa Board and other stakeholders. And so on the part of Ghana, I think that even in the turmoil, there is strong commitment into ensuring that farmers' livelihoods are protected. But it's not just about Ghana, it's a global thing. And so that is why we need to have that discussion with all stakeholders for us to take a decision which will then be more impactful. Because at the end of the day, if you are giving your farmers 70%, it's 70% of a global price. And so if you do not have the prices, the right prices at a global level, obviously you might be doing your part as Ghana, but it might not be that meaningful for the farmer. And that is why we need to go beyond just what Ghana intends to do and to try and ensure that when all stakeholders sit around the table, we will be able to find something quite meaningful for the farmer.
Farmers are facing growing pressure from climate impacts, disease, production risks, and economic uncertainty. Yet, perhaps the most important question before all of us is this: how do we ensure that cocoa farming remains an attractive and worthwhile investment for farmers? Because the long-term future of cocoa ultimately depends on whether farmers, especially young people and future generations, see a viable future in remaining in the sector.